It's not that, though. It's that Bill's just genuinely stupid. Because, like, any honest assessment of the current cultural divide in this country does not lead you to conclude that billionaires are all conspiring to make it happen. This is what I tell you, my friends, you know what I can't stand?
All right, so we need to talk about this absolute meltdown from Bill Burr, where he goes off about billionaires like there's some kind of rabid animals that need to be put down. And, of course, Tim Pool isn't having any of it. Tim Pool absolutely dismantles this nonsense, pointing out the blatant hypocrisy, economic ignorance, and outright stupidity in Bill Burr's rant. So let's break this down.
From TMZ, millionaire Bill Burr says billionaires are rabid dogs who deserve to die. That's a pretty bold statement from a guy with a net worth of around $10 to $20 million, according to a cursory Google search. I've also heard stories that he owns a helicopter. Good for him. Bill Burr doesn't want to eat the rich, but he does want to kill them. The comedian went off on billionaires in a recent podcast episode, comparing them to rabid dogs who need to be put down. He made the comments on his Monday morning podcast, blaming billionaires for dividing the country, hoarding all the wealth, and creating a situation where working people can't afford rent and need 2 jobs just to stay afloat. Bill Burr, of course, is one of the most deeply troubled and ignorant individuals in media. He may have a funny presentation, but boy, is this guy dumb.
Yeah.
He is one of the stupidest people I've ever had the displeasure of listening to, except when he makes funny jokes. Those are okay. He says that the widening wealth gap in America is bad for this country because parents have to work so much they'll never get to see their kids. And the ramifications are dire. For Bill, all of these problems can be traced back to greedy billionaires who want to divide and conquer. If Bill had an IQ that was in the triple digits, perhaps he would understand that makes literally no sense. But hey, he's a comedian, not a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the problem. Bill Burr just goes off on this emotional tirade without actually thinking through anything he's saying. Like, if he even spent 5 minutes actually looking at how wealth and power operate, he'd realize that billionaires aren't some evil overlords pulling the strings. Tim Pool is 100% right. This whole billionaires are the enemy thing is just lazy, brain-dead class warfare nonsense.
We were talking about this a little bit today on PCC.
You should listen to our episode today because Phil absolutely went off. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because, you know, the people that Bill thinks that he's being, compassionate about, those people look at billionaires and they look at Bill and they think that they're both rich. And so this class warfare that he's fomenting, the people that he thinks he's on the side of will eat him too.
It's not that, though. It's that Bill's just genuinely stupid. Because, like, any honest assessment of the current cultural divide in this country does not lead you to conclude that billionaires are all conspiring to make it happen. This is what I tell you, my friends, you know what I can't stand? You got people on the internet and they're like, the Jews all the time. And I'm like, guys, it's not one group doing anything. And they go, yes, it is. Then you get the woke saying it's the white privilege, the white colonial. No, it's not. It's not one group.
Exactly. This is the kind of reductionist garbage that keeps people from actually understanding how the world works. Bill Burr is just lumping all billionaires together like they're sitting in some secret underground bunker plotting against the world. Meanwhile, like Tim Pool said, there are billionaires funding both sides of every political issue. They're not some monolithic force. Some of them are dumb, some of them are smart, and most of them are just looking out for their own interests, just like everyone else.
There's disparate special interests that have amassed power in a variety of different ways. Sometimes they collude together, but they are all in different areas. People like Bill Burr are just as stupid as the anti-Semitic people and just as stupid as the woke people who hate white people and the colonialism people. I've long said, if you want to figure out which conspiracy cult to exist in, just figure out which group you hate the most. If it's the 1%, you can hang out with Occupy Wall Street people like Bill Burr. If you're an anti-Semite, there's a group of white nationalist anti-Semites that are waiting for you. You can blame, if you hate white people or if you hate cis heteronormative patriarchy, that group exists. All of these groups want to put the entirety of all blame in a single group of people. And it doesn't actually play out that way. If Bill Burr took 10 seconds to even Google search how basic economics worked, he'd be like, oh, that makes literally no sense that I just said that.
He says in the clip, he says that there's so much being produced in this country and there's so much money being made in this country that it's abhorrent that all of this stuff is happening. I said, well, that may be true. Amazon may be making billions upon billions of dollars every year, but what you should be asking the question is why are you on your income not able to make a living, and then wonder why you're being taxed so much and so little of that money is coming back to you in a way that's actually effective.
The picture is very, very massive. But the idea that he is literally stating that the billionaires all get together and go, shall we have the rabble fight each other? Liberal and conservative. It's not happening at all. You got billionaires that are pro-Trump. You got billionaires that are anti-Trump. Sometimes the billionaires switch their positions. They are not fomenting or doing any kind of crackpot conspiracy. Half of them don't even understand politics. Zuckerberg doesn't know or care about politics. He's just milling about whatever the CIA tells him to do.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Most billionaires aren't these evil masterminds. Some of them don't even have a clue what's going on in politics. They just play along with whatever benefits them. Bill Burr acting like they're all sitting around like Bond villains, conspiring to make life worse for the average person, is just embarrassing. Tim Pool absolutely nails it. This whole argument is just dumb, lazy populism with zero depth. So, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, Bill Burr's just throwing out these mindless talking points because it makes him sound edgy. But Tim Pool cuts through all the nonsense and exposes just how ridiculous this entire argument is. Billionaires aren't some all-powerful evil cabal. They're just people with money, and acting like they're the source of every problem in society is just straight up dumb. Tim Pool completely destroys this weak emotional take, and honestly, it needed to be said.